Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into Mob AI.
Mob AI.
Yeah, it's this radical new approach to agile development that's supposedly driving a lot of the innovation at companies like Tesla and SpaceX.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and we'll be drawing insights from JoeDX for this. He's the one who actually founded the Agile program at Tesla and worked a bunch with SpaceX applying his JoeDX frameworks.
So, JoeDX, that's Justice's own agile methodology, right?
Exactly.
Okay, got it. I mean, it makes sense. He'd be a good source on this. The guy's worked with Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, you name it. So he's definitely seen a thing or two about how to get things done.
Yeah, and from all that experience, he's basically distilled what he thinks is the fastest, most innovative approach to work possible. And that's what he put into this JoeDX framework. And a key part of that is Mob AI.
Okay, so break it down for me. What exactly is Mob AI?
So the way I understand it, it involves these small teams, like 3 to 5 people, working together on basically every single task.
Every task, like writing emails too, or just the technical stuff?
Oh no, I mean everything. And this whole collaborative approach is totally interwoven with AI tools.
Huh. Okay, so we're talking more than just using AI for brainstorming or something.
Way more. We're talking AI actually guiding the physical assembly of products in real time.
Whoa, okay, that's next level.
Right.
So is this AI making all the decisions and people just kind of following along?
Not really, no. Justice really emphasizes that AI is not just some supplemental tool. It's integrated into every single part of the work.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine a team designing some new part, right?
Okay, yeah.
Instead of relying just on human intuition or whatever, they have AI algorithms that are analyzing thousands of data points, running simulations, suggesting optimal designs all in real time.
Whoa. So it's less about automating tasks and more about supercharging human capabilities with AI.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And what kind of tools are they using to make all this happen?
One of the big ones Justice talks about is the Justice Board.
The Justice Board? What is that? Some kind of leaderboard?
It's this large digital dashboard, kind of like a giant monitor that displays all these key performance indicators, KPIs, for every single module of the product.
For every module. So they're tracking everything in real time.
Yeah, and that's actually how they replace traditional project management.
Wait, so there are no project managers in this system?
Nope. Instead of tasks being assigned top-down, you have teams self-organizing around whatever goals are displayed on the board. So they choose a KPI to improve, and then they just work collaboratively with the help of AI to actually achieve that improvement every single day.
Okay, so hold on. I want to make sure I'm getting this. It's like this constantly evolving roadmap, right? With teams dynamically adjusting their focus based on real-time data and AI insights.
You got it. And the whole thing promotes a highly iterative and super data-driven approach to development.
Makes sense. That's got to be how Tesla's able to release new hardware parts into production multiple times a day, right?
Yeah, exactly. Justice highlighted that specifically. He said that pace is totally unheard of in traditional manufacturing. Yeah. And it's all facilitated by this crazy beta transparency they have because of the Justice Board and the agility of these Mob AI teams.
Man, this whole thing just flips the traditional model on its head. Instead of rigid hierarchies and top-down control, you've got self-managing teams empowered to make decisions and drive innovation.
Totally. And I bet that requires a huge shift in company culture too, right?
For sure. And from what Justice describes, the environment sounds intense, really demanding, but also exhilarating and even fun.
Yeah.
He even compared it to the energy you find in a startup where everyone feels like an owner and is completely invested in the company's success.
So it's not just about putting in the hours, it's about having this shared purpose and genuine passion for what they're doing.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the high-level concepts, but I'm curious, how does Mob AI actually work on a practical level? What are the mechanics of it all?
Yeah, let's dive into the nuts and bolts of it. So Justice really emphasizes the importance of modularity as a crucial aspect.
Modularity, as in breaking down the product or project into these smaller, independent, parallel modules that can be executed simultaneously.
Right, exactly. And this lets teams work on different parts of the system at the same time without creating bottlenecks, which is obviously key for speed.
It's like his law that the modules of the company actually define the structure of the company.
Makes sense. If you're all about speed and efficiency, your company should basically mirror the way your product is built.
So once you've got these modules, then how do the Mob AI teams actually operate within that framework?
Well, this is where the Justice Board comes back into play. It's like this central hub for information and goal setting.
Okay, like a mission control.
Yeah, exactly. Justice actually showed examples of these massive boards they have at Tesla. They display real-time data on cost, weight, power consumption, any relevant metric for each module. It's like this live, constantly updating scorecard for the whole project.
So the teams basically choose which module to work on based on that real-time feedback, like an open marketplace of challenges.
Exactly, and they're not waiting around for instructions from some manager either. They see a metric that needs improvement, they swarm around it and use their collective intelligence, plus those AI tools, to come up with solutions.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is where the AI really comes into play. And I'm guessing we're not talking about just using like generic AI tools here, right?
Right. They're actually developing these custom AI systems trained on their specific data and processes. Like each mob AI team will have people dedicated to training the AI as they work. So it creates this feedback loop where the AI is constantly evolving alongside the team.
So they're essentially building a knowledge base that's specific to their product and their processes,
Exactly.
which means that the AI can actually provide increasingly relevant insights and guidance over time.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just design and engineering too. Justice even mentioned using mob AI for stuff like writing emails and contracts.
Really? For something as simple as emails.
Yeah, they'd like mob on emails to cut down the time they spend in their inboxes. It seems like no aspect of work is safe from the mob AI approach.
It's like they've created this unified system for tackling any challenge, big or small.
Right.
But before we get too carried away with all the technical stuff, I want to talk about the people involved. Like, how do people actually feel working in this hyper-collaborative, AI-driven environment?
Well, Justice, he describes it as intense, definitely demanding, but also like exhilarating and even fun. He actually compared it to the energy you find in a startup.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, where everyone feels like an owner and is completely invested in the company's success.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about putting in the hours, it's about having this shared purpose and a genuine passion for what you're doing.
Exactly. But that intensity also, it kind of raises some concerns too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like we talked about burnout a little, especially in a system that encourages long hours and constantly pushing boundaries.
Yeah, it's definitely a valid concern.
Hey, Justice claims that Tesla's attrition rates are actually lower than other car manufacturers.
Oh.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that burnout isn't happening, right?
Right.
He emphasizes that within the mob AI framework, teams are responsible for providing support and what he calls pastoral care to each other.
Pastoral care.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure what he means by that exactly, but it's not clear if there are any like formal structures to address stuff like mental health and work-life balance.
Right. Yeah, that's where the lack of traditional management structures raises some big questions,
Yeah.
like who's ultimately accountable for employee well-being in this system?
Exactly. And it leads to another important question. Can this model even work outside of these specific companies like Tesla and SpaceX?
Oh, it's a good point.
Like, it's easy to imagine mob AI working great in places that already have that strong culture of innovation and a high tolerance for risk.
Right.
But what about more traditional organizations?
Yeah, Justice argues that the principles of mob AI, they're actually applicable across industries.
Right.
And he's been teaching his JoeDX framework to companies all over the world, including Toyota.
Toyota. Interesting.
Yeah, and they're integrating parts of mob AI into their processes.
Wow. It's kind of wild to imagine a company like Toyota, known for their, their rigorous and structured approach, adopting this more agile and collaborative system.
Yeah.
How are they doing it?
Well, they've started with a more modular approach to car design, and they're experimenting with internal AI systems to support engineering and production.
So baby steps.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early days, but
Yeah.
the fact they're even willing to experiment is a good sign, right?
Sure.
It suggests that the core principles of mob AI, like modularity, data transparency, empowerment, AI integration, they're not limited to just one type of company or industry.
Right. It's about adapting those principles to fit your own specific context.
Exactly.
Not every company can just drop everything and become Tesla, right?
Right.
They don't have those resources to pour into AI and totally flatten their structure.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they can't benefit from taking some of these ideas from mob AI and working them into their own workflow.
So for someone listening who might be thinking, okay, could this work for us? What are some of the essential elements to really focus on?
Well, first and foremost, modularity. Breaking down the work into those independent, parallel, executable modules, that's essential.
Right.
It allows for speed, flexibility, and the ability to make changes without disrupting the whole system.
Yeah, and that applies to more than just product design too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like think about any complex project or process in your organization.
Right.
Could it be broken down into smaller, more manageable modules?
And then the second key element is data transparency. Make all the relevant data instantly accessible to everyone involved.
Okay.
So that real-time feedback loop, it lets teams make informed decisions, spot problems quickly, and see the immediate impact of their work.
Yeah, that transparency, it really fosters a sense of ownership and accountability too, right?
For sure.
When everyone has access to the same information, it's so much easier to collaborate effectively and work towards that shared goal.
Exactly. And then the third element is empowerment and motivation.
Okay. How do you actually build that in?
Basically, give teams the autonomy and the resources they need to actually experiment and innovate.
Yeah.
Create an environment where they actually feel empowered to make decisions, take risks, and even learn from their mistakes.
Right, which kind of ties back to that whole startup mentality that Justice was talking about.
Exactly.
It's about fostering that culture
Yeah.
where everyone feels like a contributor
Right.
and is motivated to push the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly.
And then finally, we have AI integration.
Right. This is where the magic really happens. But it's not just about grabbing any AI tool and hoping for the best.
Right.
It's about carefully selecting and training AI systems that are specifically tailored to your needs and processes.
So it's more about building a custom AI partner
Exactly. One that understands your unique challenges and can provide valuable insights and assistance at every stage of the workflow.
Okay, that's cool.
And this obviously requires a commitment to continuous learning and improvement, both for the teams and for the AI, right?
Right.
The AI has to be constantly trained and refined based on real-world data and feedback.
So it's a fascinating and complex model with huge potential. But while it may not be a one-size-fits-all solution, the core principles of mob AI do offer some valuable lessons
Oh, absolutely.
for anyone trying to adapt to the insane pace of change in today's world.
Mob AI is a really interesting glimpse into a potential future where human creativity and artificial intelligence, they work together seamlessly.
Yeah, to achieve these unprecedented levels of innovation and productivity.
But like we've been talking about, it also brings up these really important questions
Right.
about the ethical considerations of this technology
for sure.
and its impact on what work even is.
Exactly. And those are questions we'll need to really grapple with as we continue to explore and experiment with these new ways of working. It really makes you think about how mob AI might affect, like, the workforce of the future.
Yeah, totally.
Justice actually talks about this idea of the auto machinist.
Auto machinists.
Yeah, so these are individuals who are proficient in, like, design, simulation, and automation because they've rotated through all those roles within these mob AI teams.
So they've basically got experience across the board thanks to the way mob AI works.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like they embody this concept of continuous learning and adaptability.
Right, because as AI takes on more of the routine tasks, humans will need to be able to develop a much broader skill set
Yeah.
and be way more fluid in their roles.
It's like this constant cycle of upskilling,
Right.
driven by how dynamic the work itself is.
Which brings up a huge question, like what will the job market even look like in a future where AI is this deeply integrated into everything?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right?
There are some experts who believe that AI will actually create more jobs than it displaces,
Okay, interesting.
leading to new industries and opportunities we can't even fathom yet.
Mm-hmm.
But others are worried about mass unemployment, especially in sectors where AI can just easily automate existing tasks.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex issue, no easy answers.
For sure.
But it is clear that AI is completely transforming everything. And like models like Mob AI, they give us this glimpse into how we might adapt to this changing landscape.
Right. It's not necessarily about humans versus machines.
Yeah.
It's about finding ways for humans and AI to actually work together effectively.
So what are the biggest takeaways here? What do people really need to understand about all this?
I think one of the key things is the importance of adaptability, creativity, and problem-solving skills.
Okay, so those human qualities.
Exactly. Those are the things that will become even more valuable in an AI-driven world.
And it's about fostering that mindset of continuous learning too, right?
Oh, for sure.
If the auto machinist is the model for the future worker, then we need to accept that learning and skill development are ongoing processes,
Yeah.
not just something you do in school or at the start of your career.
Mob AI, with that focus on rapid iteration, data transparency, collaborative problem solving, it's almost like a training ground for this new kind of workforce
Interesting.
because it forces people to constantly learn, adapt, and evolve alongside the technology.
So to kind of wrap things up, what are the big lessons we can take away from this deep dive into Mob AI?
Okay, so first, modularity, breaking down those complex tasks and projects into smaller, more manageable units. That allows for more flexibility and faster iteration.
Got it. And that's something that applies across the board, not just in tech.
Yeah. Data transparency.
Right.
Make information easily available to everybody.
Yeah, I like
Because it empowers those teams to make better decisions and it creates that culture
Mm.
of collaboration and accountability.
Makes sense.
And then third, empowerment. Give individuals and teams the autonomy and resources they need to innovate and experiment.
Give them the freedom to try things.
Exactly. Encourage that sense of ownership and a willingness to push those boundaries.
And finally.
Finally, embrace AI as a partner, not just a tool.
Okay.
Invest in those AI systems that are tailored to your specific needs and create a culture of continuous learning where everyone, humans and AI, can evolve and improve together.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Mob AI may not be the right fit for every organization, but those underlying principles offer some really valuable insights
Definitely.
into how we can adapt to a future where AI plays an even bigger role than it does now.
It's about finding ways to use the power of AI while also preserving and amplifying those unique capabilities humans have, like ingenuity and collaboration.
I like that.
Yeah,
This deep dive into Mob AI has definitely given us all a lot to think about.
for sure.
It's been a fascinating look at this new approach to work that's already shaking things up in some of the world's most innovative companies.
The future of work is being shaped right now, and it's up to us to figure out what part AI will play.
Exactly.
Will it be a force for good, augmenting our capabilities and creating new opportunities, or will it lead to more inequality and disruption?
Those are some big questions.
Absolutely. Questions we need to keep exploring as AI keeps advancing and its impact on our lives becomes even more significant.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Mob AI.